to make new ones and to give others the opportunity to do the same. As we go through this process, it has become clear to me, we aren't just rebuilding an island, we're reviving a legend.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to Sport. It's going to be a busy weekend in sports for a number of athletes and coaches from the North. We have a whole lot of sports for you. Let's jump right in. The NCAA March Madness basketball tournament for men and women currently underway as the college basketball season is coming to an end. Bimmonite VJ Edgecombe and his Baylor Bears will see action on Friday in the first round at 9:15 a.m. where they will take on Mississippi State as the 9th seed. Also, Coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen and her Ole Miss Lady Rebels coming in as the 5th seed will take on Ball State on Friday as well in the first round of the women's tournament. That game is scheduled to tip off at 6 p.m. Next in sports, Alpha Aquatics Learn to Swim program has been growing over the past few months. It's a program catered to young swimmers across Grand Bahama.
For the Learn to Swim program, we're teaching our babies, I should say, how the basic skills, how to survive inside the water. So that's like if they fall inside the water, they'll be able to get out the pool by themselves. And having the competitive swimmers help them. The little ones are more excited, I feel like, because they're like, after practice, they're able to see them inside their area. I'm hoping that we do expand. We have our 3 programs that are open right now. So that's our Learn to Swim, our Stroke School, and also our competitive swimmers. I'm looking to actually start an adult swim program because I've had a lot of adults reach out to me and ask about starting that program because surprisingly, there's a lot of adults on the island that don't know how to swim.
From the pool to the volleyball court, the Grand Bahama Amateur Volleyball League is now focused on the upcoming nationals set for later on this summer.
We will have the nationals in August in New Providence, so hopefully we can work together and select the best team to represent the country.
And finally, in sports, high school track and field nationals happening in the nation's capital. Athletes, of course, from Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini will be in action over the next few days. Ladies and gents, that's your quick check on sports. Your Facebook friend of the day is next. I'm Jay Philippe. As always, be blessed.
Welcome to What's Trending. Join me, Jiminita Swain.
And me, The Bahama Beauty, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Only on the ZNS Network.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team here in the North, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas Tonight coming your way next.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
First at 11. Inflation and the cost of living, a central concern for the nation's leader, whose administration is tackling the issue by exploring deepening trade diversification. Also, energy reform in the Bahamas making leaps and bounds this week with another critical energy agreement signed, this time for liquefied natural gas, or LNG. We'll tell you more. And the first Coconut 360 Festival today in Rawson Square, and a unique twist of an iconic cultural dish. That's straight ahead. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Royson Jones, and this is the Bahamas Tonight at 11. Welcome to the broadcast. As global trade tensions between China and the United States persist, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis is positioning trade diversification as a crucial safeguard for the Bahamas. His remarks follow a stark warning from major grocers, cautioning that ongoing economic conflicts could push inflation rates as high as 20%. Devontae Hanna leads us off tonight at 11.
Now, Roycing, this is something that we've been following for the entire day, with concerns rising over the potential fallout from a looming trade war. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis believes that the Bahamas must broaden its trade partnerships to reduce reliance on any single economic powerhouse. Now, he emphasizes that diversification will not only protect the nation from external shocks, but also strengthen economic resilience. Now, the warning of a possible 25% inflation surge, that came in the Nassau Guardian from SuperValue founder Rupert Roberts, and it all comes as global supply chains remain fragile. As we know, food and essential goods are particularly at risk, with retailers seemingly already bracing for potential price hikes. This is all due to the United States President Donald Trump, his new proposed port fees. Take a look.
Our response to that is to continue our efforts to continue to diversify the source from which we get our products, and hopefully they could come direct to the Bahamas as opposed to going where it costs us much more.
Tensions between the United States, Canada, China, and Mexico have been escalating, with nations imposing tariffs on each other's goods in a tit-for-tat economic standoff. It means what was once considered inexpensive goods can very well increase in price in the coming months. With a new national trade diversification program, the Davis administration hopes to jump ahead of the spike. CEO of CLX Logistics Bahamas, Kerry Howell, early this month explained how it would work.
With these direct trade routes, we now shorten the time, so from farm to table, and so we receive fresher goods in the Bahamas.
But as the eyes of the world fixate on President Trump's next move, economists say smaller countries like the Bahamas should brace for impact. And as Prime Minister Davis puts it, what happens externally can impact CARICOM nations internally.
And so we look at each policy of the United States, see how it impacts us, and make the adjustments as necessary to ensure that we're looking after our people.
Now, of course, Prime Minister Davis says his administration is actively exploring new trade opportunities while enhancing local production to reduce dependency on imports. And, of course, economists are now warning that if the trade war escalates, Bahamian businesses and consumers should prepare for potential economic shifts. Royson?
Thank you, Devontae. By November 1st, power generation as we know it will be changed, out with oil and diesel and in with liquefied natural gas, a cheaper, cleaner way of producing energy that is expected to drive down the cost of electricity that has fluctuated, much to the frustration of the public for decades. Our Felicity Darville was at the office of the Prime Minister for the historic signing of two major agreements on LNG.
Liquefied natural gas releases 40% less carbon dioxide than coal and 30% less than oil, making it one of the world's cleanest fossil fuels. Liquefied natural gas, or LNG, releases 40% less carbon dioxide than coal and 30% less than oil, which makes it one of the world's cleanest fossil fuels. In a landmark event, the government of the Bahamas signed a terminal development and use agreement with New Providence Gas, a subsidiary of Focol Holdings, and an LNG supply agreement with Shell Global. It includes converting our turbine engines at Clifton Pier from oil to LNG.
When this administration first announced its plans to tackle energy reform head-on, to some people, it may have sounded like we were aiming too high, dreaming too big, or maybe casting our vision too far. I don't blame them. You see, the cost of electricity had been so high for so long that many people accepted it as part of daily life in the Bahamas. Added to the high costs were the decades of constant failures of BPL's main generators, the inefficiency of the Wärtsilä engines, and other failed would-be solutions.
According to Minister JoBeth Colby Davis, this is the National Energy Reform Plan in action.
When it comes to energy, Bahamian households and businesses want two main things. One, to be confident that electricity, or as we say, power, will stay on. And two, affordable electricity bills. For the Davis administration, these needs are national aspirations that our country needs to grow and every Bahamian deserves.
By the time this agreement reaches Phase 4, Attorney General Ryan Pinder says we will have upwards of $180 million in annual savings.
Just imagine the economic opportunities of an extra $180 million a year in the economy of Nassau, being able to be reinvested, being able to create additional opportunities, small businesses being able to have extra disposable income to grow.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Felicity Darville.
Meantime, Minister of Energy and Transport, the Honourable JoBeth Colby-Davis, attended meetings in London, the United Kingdom, last week in support of the Bahamas Maritime Authority's launch of the Bahamas candidacy for re-election to the International Maritime Organization under Category C. Minister Colby-Davis, along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Fred Mitchell, led the Bahamian contingent, which met with International Maritime Organization Secretary General Arsenio Dominguez Velasco on maritime safety and security, safety and training of seafarers, and equity and diversification in the maritime sector. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe is defending the response to the recent SpaceX Starship rocket, which exploded over the Bahamas nearly 2 weeks ago. This amidst concerns from the opposition about the search and recovery process and the potential environmental impact, even as the SpaceX team has ended the search for debris from that incident and has now left the country. The opposition also suggested that the government is being less than transparent, something Minister Monroe outright rejected.
The opposition does what they do. They conflated two issues. So the issue of SpaceX debris that fell in this country has nothing to do with a booster landing here. That was an aircraft that didn't take off in the Bahamas, wasn't due to land in the Bahamas. You, in effect, have these incidents that happen. Indeed, off Scotland, you had the cargo ship that collided into the oil tanker, and there's a spill. Whenever you have things like that, there are international treaties and conventions that govern it. So the international treaty that governs the falling of space debris says that the person who owns it has the cost of cleaning it up.
The National Security Minister also firing back at the opposition, which he categorized as not demonstrating confidence in the abilities of Bahamians, referring specifically to Bahamian rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, who worked closely with the government and SpaceX on the recent booster landing exercise. Minister Monroe says her expertise and connection to the Bahamas leaves little to question.
The booster landing, as was indicated, there was a study before it, there were the people there during it, and there's the study after it. And what is Bahamian people should be comforted by, these are all being done by Bahamians. And as I said in the House, I'm very impressed by Miss Bowe. She hails from Exuma. Her grandfather is from Exuma. Her line is from Exuma. Are we really thinking that she's going to endanger Exuma and not giving sensible advice?
Director of the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection, Dr. Rihanna Neely-Murphy, recently confirmed that some residents in the southern Bahamas have been contracted to be on the lookout for debris from the failed rocket. She notes that its engine will unlikely be retrieved since it is presumed to have fallen into deep waters. Since August 1st, local fishermen have been hauling in thousands of pounds of crawfish, capitalizing on one of the country's most valuable fisheries. Now, as the season officially comes to an end on March 31st, many boast it's been a profitable year. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Bahamas exports millions of dollars worth of crawfish annually, with the industry making up over 80% of the country's total fisheries revenue. National Fisheries Association President Keith Carroll touts this season has been one of the best in years.
It was so good that some boats had to stop fishing for the lobsters to freeze up so they could fish the next day. And the reports a lot of small crawfish. That means the future is good. So the way things looking, the crawfish season is showing real good for the future.
But even with a successful season, marine biologists stress that overfishing remains a concern. Regulations like the annual close season, restrictions on catching undersized crawfish, and bans on harvesting egg-bearing females are crucial to keeping the industry alive. Fisherman Paul Malis believes following regulations is the only way to protect future seasons.
I think the most important thing is for fishermen to uphold the law and respect the law. Like Mr. Carroll said, there's a lot of fishermen who don't abide by the law. When the grouper season closes, they fish through the closed season. When the lobster season's closed, they fish for lobster. They don't allow the breeding stocks to keep up with the heavy harvest all year. And like Mr. Carroll said, as long as we keep industrial poaching out of Bahamian waters in whatever form it's taking, that's going to do a lot of good in helping keeping our industry sustainable.
Still to come, tourism celebrates a longtime visitor. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. More news in just a moment.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping, travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
Hundreds of young voices from across the country came together for a power discussion on the Caribbean's future. In this report, our Devontae Hanna shares how the CARICOM One Youth, One Voice conference brought together 400 students, providing a platform for dialogue on critical issues affecting the region.
From climate change to economic development, students from across the Bahamas engage in passionate discussions at the CARICOM One Youth, One Voice conference.
It helps me to realize that I have a voice and I can use my voice.
That's the Government High School's 11th grader, Kenmaya Black, just one of 400 students grateful for the opportunity to learn from experts on key topics organized by Ambassador to CARICOM, Her Excellency Leslie Miller Bryce.
There are 3 topics that were covered today: the role of diplomacy, a youth-driven future. We also talked about climate change and sustainability, and now Ambassador Sebastian Bastian. He's on the stage talking about the future of entrepreneurship in the Caribbean.
At the conference center, officials wanted young people to realize that they have a voice not only here in the country, but across the region and around the world, like 8th grader Angel Paul.
Our speakers that inspired me that the youth have a voice, that they could talk for themselves, and we could change the Bahamas and we could change the world.
I truly want to say thank you to the government of our country for ensuring that our youth voices are heard, for ensuring that we empower them, ensuring that we engage them.
CARICOM leaders have long emphasized the importance of youth participation in governance and policy making, and Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis today encouraging those to do the same.
The time for action is today. And you are the drivers of that action. You, the young minds in this room, are the catalysts for change. You are the disruptors, the innovators, and the visionaries who will not only inherit this planet, but fight fiercely to protect it.
The one-day conference leaving students with new perspectives, ideas, and a renewed commitment to shaping a brighter future.
I liked how they gave us ways as youth that we can combat these situations, or how we can put ourselves in these situations and be able to help the Bahamas.
And there you have it. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
And it's Angel Paul.
Thanks, Devontae. Verbal, cyber, or sexual bullying continues to be a social issue among students in the public school system. It's unwanted, aggressive behavior that Director of Education Dominique McCartney-Russell says her anti-bullying team at the ministry is committed to resolving.
So once we receive that information that a child is being bullied, we do have consequences for bullies. For example, some schools will have the bully write an essay on the consequences of bullying and what you're doing to the child who's being bullied. That child may receive an in-school suspension where they perform community service. They may also be asked to serve an out-of-school suspension at one of our suspension centers. But we always include an education aspect to it, and so an essay, and we provide counseling as well.
Houston, Texas-based Avelo Airlines begins twice-weekly service between Raleigh-Durham and Nassau starting June 11th. The airline just began expansion into the Caribbean this past February. Avelo's new Nassau route is expected to offer even greater access to the Bahamas and reinforcing the destination's appeal to North Carolina travelers. Since its inception in April 2021, Avelo has flown more than 6.3 million customers on nearly 50,000 flights, and the Bahamas will be the newest addition in its international routes. 93-year-old Bridgewater, New York native Janet Manella has visited the Bahamas every year since 1983, and the Paradise Island Beach Club timeshare unit she's owned since 1984 keeps her coming back. In fact, tourism officials recently celebrated her 41st trip to the Bahamas. Her deep connection to the country stems from the warmth and hospitality of the Bahamian people, the friendships she has forged over the years, and the exceptional service she receives from Paradise Island Beach Club staff. The American tourist was presented with a commemorative plaque during a special visit relations ceremony and was showered with gratitude from Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Chester Cooper, and Tourism Director General Letitia Duncombe. Picture this, you're eating a tropical salad in the Bahamas, but conch isn't the main ingredient. Coconut is. Well, this creation was not even the most unheard of amongst the offerings at the first Coconut 360 Festival today in Rawson Square. What's the Coconut 360 Festival? Well, take a listen as our Daniel Dean tells us in this next report.
We all know that coconuts can be eaten, courtesy of treats like coconut tart and even coconut shrimp. We know that it comes in oil and drink form. But did you know that coconuts can be worn or even used for gardening?
The coconut fiber is also used for planting as well, and also used as tea to help cleanse your liver and kidney.
Danielle McKenzie of Cocoa Splash, a one-stop shop all-natural coconut service company, was right in her element at the Ministry of Agriculture's Coconut 360 Festival launch, an initiative aimed at supporting Bahamian coconut vendors and their innovations using the versatile fruit.
And also the coconut peat. So you can use this one here as soil to mix in the soil to help your plants stay cool.
Courtesy of the Ministry of Agriculture, 4 coconut vendors have received boots like the one behind me.
It isn't just about the coconut product, it's about the people as well. We want to ensure that we develop the person in 360 degrees. So they've had health training, they've had hospitality training, and the list goes on and on. And so those keys are for them now to be empowered and opening their new Coconut 360 boots.
A quarter of the recipients, Brent Saunders.
When I started on Sanders Beach. And when the pandemic came along, they shut us all down, so I had to move on to my property on Fire Trail Road, and I've been operating there ever since.
So how was that for you?
Oh, it's going great. It's just developing and growing, and now with the government giving us these boots, I'll be able to open up a second location somewhere else.
Mr. Saunders of Bertha Boys Coconuts and the rest of the vendors look forward to a lucrative future in the coconut business. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle T.
Fantastic to see the coconut industry thriving. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis also taking time out to meet with the coconut vendors while sampling some of the tasty creations.
I'm advised that the coconut industry is a billion-dollar industry, $2 billion industry, and it's time for us to take our part of that. And so this initiative is to ensure that we regulate the industry, bring the attention and the respect that it deserves, and to let the coconut vendors know that they are a part of this economy. To let them know that they are appreciated, and to let them know that we, this government in particular, is here to empower them to ensure that their living is worthwhile.
Michelle Knowles has a look at what's coming up in sports tonight. Michelle?
Hundreds of athletes from across the Bahamas hitting the track today for day one of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture's National High School Track and Field Championships. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this
bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Welcome to your Thursday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Rose, Topping Sports, day one of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture National High School Track and Field Championships getting underway earlier today at the old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. And the action already heating up as we saw a new record fall. The girls under 17 high jump highlights from the early session.
Action getting underway on the track as we would see several heats in the boys and girls 100 meters. Over in the pit, a member of the SAC Big Red Machine and recent University of Ole Miss commit Bailey Major soaring past the field in the girls under 20 triple jump, outclassing the competition with a best leap of 12.36 meters.
I just trusting my training and trying to have fun at the same time.
Talk about the jump because everyone look like a big one after one another.
Yes, I came out there kind of like with the attempt to break the national record. I didn't, but I'll get there. I also beat.
But the story of the day would be the intense battle in the girls under 17 high jump between two of Walkeriffe stalwarts and last year's reigning silver medalist and Queen's College Comet, Alexandria Komalafe, and the versatile Kiezra Thomas out of Bishop Michael Eldon in Grand Bahama. Ladies would trade impressive jumps back and forth and would both clear a new meet record of 1.68 meters. But ultimately, Komalafe would be awarded the title, being the first of the pair to clear the record-setting height.
Well, starting off low at 145, I just wanted to keep my jump consistent. Keep the same run, keep the same drive up, and maintain the same form as I go move up to the higher heights. And then when I reached the 168, it was just keeping the same thing and trusting my coach.
To the NBA in his first career start, Kai Jones certainly did not disappoint in just his second appearance with the Dallas Mavericks. Jones outdoing his performance in his debut. He would finish the game with 18 points and 11 rebounds, but despite his efforts, the Mavs lost 135-131 to the Indiana Pacers. It was also Jones' second career double-double. Kai speaking post-game.
We played a beautiful game. I love the way we fought back. Just gotta, at the end of games, taking care of the ball is crucial, making your shots. So, it's a learning experience for sure. Gotta take the good out of it and stay positive moving forward. But I'm proud of the way the team played, man. We did a great job fighting back.
In March Madness news, two Bahamians clashing earlier today in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Fred King and his 9th-seeded Creighton Blue Jays upsetting Chucky Hepburn and his 8th-seeded Louisville Cardinals in the first game of the tournament. The Blue Jays advancing to the round of 32 in the South region. Creighton won their 5th consecutive March Madness opener and beat a team ranked in the top 10 for the second time this season. Louisville, despite its unimpressive seeding, entered at number 10 in the AP Top 25. Creighton is seeking its 4th Sweet 16 appearance in 5 years. They'll either play the number 1 overall seed Auburn or 16th-seeded Alabama State in the second round of the South region on Saturday. As for the stat line, Chucky Hepburn scoring 22 in the loss. King finishing the game with just 2 minutes logged. And still on hoops, well, it's Police Month, and among the many activities the Royal Bahamas Police Force has for this month is an intramural basketball tournament taking place on Saturday at the AF Adderley Gymnasium. And according to one of the organizers, you certainly don't want to miss it.
Saturday starting at 9 a.m. at the AF Adderley Gym, we have a big basketball tournament. We split the whole island into 6 teams. These from the East, West, Kingdom Knights, HQ, CID, support staff, headquarters. Now listen, I want to lead with this. The Commissioner of Police will be playing basketball Saturday. Her and the whole top team decided that they were going to come and put on their sneakers and they're going to play. Now, I ain't telling you how it can go, but it's something that you don't want to miss. We encourage everybody to come out and see the Commissioner put on a show, as well as the other divisions vying for the title.
Now, of course, all the action from all the 3 days will be seen here live on the ZNS television network. You definitely want to stay locked in. That's all the time we have for you for sports on this Thursday. Let's check on weather when we return.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
It's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Royston. We have dry conditions again tonight, but there is a cold front on the way. It's presently just across central Florida, making its way towards the southeast. That will get into the northwest Bahamas late tonight, and during the early morning hours, it should pass through the capital. Relatively dry, not much precipitation associated with the system, but certainly behind it, we're going to have a nice little cool down, which will last us for several more days. Now, your temperatures around the islands, Marsh, Abaco at 71, 74 degrees in Green Turtle Key, also in Abaco. Freeport, Grand Bahamas, 74 in the Berry Islands. Allenstown, Bimini, a little warmer at 77 degrees, 73 in Harper Island. Roxanne, Eleuthera, 70, 72 in Otterstown, Cat Island. Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space at Andros, Fresh Creek, Central Andros, all at 71 degrees, another 71 in Georgetown, Exuma. Rum Key at 72 degrees, also San Salvador, 72 degrees as well. And as we take you further south, Ragged Island, Clarence, Long Island, and Crooked Island at 71 degrees. Betsy Bay may go on to 72. Ackland, several degrees up at 76. Matchetown and Nagua, 74. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 76 degrees. And your forecast tonight, we're looking at mainly clear, a bit breezy and warmer with your low temperature. Yeah, that should get down to about 75 degrees. And then tomorrow it's going to be sunny to partly cloudy, still on the breezy side, with the high temperature getting up to 76 degrees. And your extended weather forecast looking like this. Frontal system goes through tomorrow morning. Winds kick up, so we'll have advisories in place for you boaters tomorrow. But that, too, will be short-lived, as by afternoon, those winds will start to decrease, heading into the weekend with some pretty nice boating conditions. Clouds will return to the area on Sunday and Monday, becoming more cloudy with scattered showers and thunderstorms working their way into the forecast on Tuesday. Temperatures also warming up into the low 80s as of Monday of next week. But until then, we're going to enjoy some nice nighttime temperatures, which will be in the 60s for us here in the capital. As you go more northward in around Grand Bahama and Abaco, it's going to be temperatures that are going to be somewhat in the 50s. Royston?
Happy to see that good weather continuing there. Well, that does it for the Bahamas tonight at 11. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Thank you for watching. Good night.
At Tonic Williams Darden Highway, I'm Tajaro Hudson. This is ZNS.